Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm Luke from A Taste of AZ. On today's episode of the podcast, we've got the wonderful founder of JoyBus, a non-for-profit organization delivering healthy meals to homebound cancer patients. They're doing wonderful things for people across the valley, so make sure to follow them on social media as well as A Taste of AZ. Let's jump into the podcast.
So we're here. Jennifer, thank you for joining us.
Stoked to be here. Thanks.
Yes, this is awesome. So we're at JoyBus Diner, right? This place is beautiful, beautiful wood wall over here.
Thank you. This was donated by Porter Barnwood, and basically we have all of our legacy tiles, so people can purchase a tile in honor of someone or in memory of someone. It's just a cool way to kind of tie everything together and bring our community together.
Yeah. As I'm looking here, I mean, there's a lot of Cowtown skateboards right beside me. I didn't, see it, Luke?
Like, oh, nice.
Who happens to have another super
mills.
Rad nonprofit called Skate, and I sit on their board. And what we're trying to do is build skate parks for kids and have a lot of access to kids that may not have access to boards or to parks.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. So like, I mean, how many are on the wall at this time, you think?
16,023.
Wow, that's
No,
incredible.
maybe like 80.
For a second, I was like, wow. Like other time. Yeah, I know. That's great, though. That's great. Well, so let's back up a little bit. Are you from Arizona originally?
I would say yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I've got a couple Wallace Lamo stints, so got my bags to claim ownership to Arizona.
Yeah.
But I got here when I was about 5 or 6.
Okay. So pretty much. Yeah. It was the same for you, Luke, too, right?
Yeah.
At the same age.
When I turned like 4 is when I moved here, so 24 now.
You guys are Arizonans.
You're a baby.
Absolutely. He is, isn't he?
I get that all the time, but I swear I feel so much older than I probably should.
I give it 30 years.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
He's the mature one. Like, I'm like the child. I'm the 42-year-old child.
He's not lying.
No, I'm not. No, yes, keep me in line. What was you growing up? What was it like? Were you into food at that point? Like, what was your career journey?
Yeah, I've always been into food. Just growing up a latchkey kid. If you wanted to eat, you really have to get into food so that you can eat.
Right, yeah.
But, we grew up on the west side and started working at, I think, 14 in a Mexican restaurant washing dishes. Okay. And it's just one of those industries that you get into and it's really hard to get out because you can go anywhere and do it. And it's really easy to get a job tomorrow as long as you're willing to put in the work.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that I got into and obviously haven't been able to get out of. Yeah. But it's a lifestyle. It's not a job. So it really is all consuming. I mean, I'm thankful now for what we're doing with the JoyBus because it's not your typical restaurant.
Yeah.
Like we're closed. Well, now we're closed because of COVID, permanently. But like normally we close at 2 and that gives you the rest of the day to, I would say, have a life, but for me it's to work on the charity. Yeah. Whereas if we had a regular restaurant that was open all the time, there's no way. I mean, you can't breathe.
Yeah. It's just constant, right? It's like you hit the ground running and like don't stop or you're falling down hard. Yeah. So what all right, you're doing dishes and that's your first experience into food. Where did it evolve as far as like, okay, I want to, like, did you want to be a chef? Did you want to, what was the direction you liked?
I don't think I ever wanted to be a chef. I wanted to own a bunch of shit. Like I never really, I don't know. And I'm not a chef. I'm just a cook.
Okay.
So I started in the Mexican restaurant washing dishes and then I was running the line and then I was manager. I left that and got my first bar gig at McKenna's, which is no longer here. The manager at that point, I believe now he owns Phoenix City Grill and Sierra Bonita. I'm not sure if that's still around. But yeah, then I sort of dabbled in the bar industry for a little bit and then got back out because that's dangerous. So not that working in kitchens isn't, but then I got more behind the line kind of experience and then was GM of my first place up in NAU at, I think, 20. Okay. And then after that, dropped out of school and moved to Portland and opened my first restaurant there.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I had that one, and then I went to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and opened one there, and then took off to Spain for a while, and then came back to Arizona. So I was gone from Arizona for about 10 years.
Okay. just exploring the world.
Yeah, I just wanted to check out. We were in Mexico for about 7 years and went to Spain and just Italy and just kind of bounced around, the 2 kids and I, and checked out rad food and ate and came back here to open another restaurant.
Okay.
Was the food and creating the restaurants what drove you to those places, or did something else bring you there?
It was the food that drove me to the places, 100%. Like
Portland and
Well, Portland, I went to start. I used to play in a band, and so I went there to go play in a band. And the bar that I was working at the time was situated next to a failing restaurant. So I just went in every day and begged to take it over, and eventually they gave it to me.
You played in a band?
Yeah.
You're quickly becoming the coolest person I know.
Oh, we just met. Give it time. The bar's super low right now.
I'm like, where are we going to go? Up or down on this?
Like, it's a low bar right now. Give it time.
Jeez.
Reassess that at the end of the episode.
There we go.
All right. Well, this is my 7 minute and 40 seconds into analysis. You're pretty cool. So,
I'm going to leave by the end so I don't have to hear the end result.
Yeah.
Just end the episode now. It's over. We're done.
That's it. That's perfect. That is perfect. We got plenty of footage. Yeah.
Nice.
What were you doing in the band?
I was a bass player and a singer. Just a token chick in a band, basically.
Still cool though.
Yeah, it is.
It's more than I've done in a band before. I did.
Sure.
I used to play drums, and I did like 2 or 3 performances with my brother, and I was just the token 12-year-old, 13-year-old kid to make it look like something cool is going on there.
No, so we were right on the same page.
Sure, yeah, I guess
a lot of screaming, and it was awesome.
Yeah. I'm jealous. I never got that opportunity. I've never jammed with anybody.
Well, half of my performances overall were like school talent shows and stuff like that, so I don't know how much those count towards it.
Well, I do have some claim to fame with talent shows. I did win a breakdancing contest in 6th grade, and I do have a trophy to prove it.
Wow.
So if you want to bust out the cardboard right now, I mean, I might break a hip, but I'm willing to give one for the team.
Yeah. We got a bunch of cardboard. Can we like tape that together over there? We've got cameras.
We have beer in the walk-in. Let's pull it out and get crazy.
This is a recipe for something amazing right now. Yes. Oh, wow. We need to regroup a little bit, Luke. So, what was it like owning restaurants in those, like specifically in Mexico? Like, what was that like compared to?
Mexico is a little tough. I mean, not as tough as Spain, but it was a little tough in the sense that the product there, I mean, because it was a tourist town, it was Puerto Vallarta, so the product was really expensive.
Okay.
And it was really difficult to survive past seasons. I mean, yeah, we have gnarly seasons here in Arizona, but over there it's worse. Like you have like 3 months and that's it. Yeah. And then it's torrential rain and downpour and it's everybody leaves. So basically you're banking on cruise ships coming in. So it was hard. Product was expensive, and you can't charge, at least not where we were at, what you could charge here. Okay. It was tough, but it was an experience. Sure. I'm stoked I did it.
Yeah. Probably learned a lot.
Totally.
Right? Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Like, shit, I do not want to go through that again, right?
No, exactly.
So many different things.
But it was rad. You got to fish every day. So basically what you have on your menu, you could just go catch every day. It was a very cool experience.
Yeah. I think, see, when I hear about those things, I'm like, that sounds really cool for like 3 days. Right? After that, like let me rent the experience for 3 days and then be done with it, because as a sustainable, that's brutal.
No, I'm just a jumping kind of person, lose everything and then start over again.
Yeah. Well, so how did this all evolve into? Well, you said that you moved to Phoenix then, right? You moved back after those. Okay.
Yeah, after I sold the place in Mexico. I hung out in Mexico for a while, and then I took off to Spain, and I was going to try to open one there. But it's a little more difficult there. I was not able to get a company to sponsor me for my papers. I wasn't able to pay to get licenses. It was a lot more like legit as far as how operations were run.
Like they were tight. Like,
correct.
Yeah.
So I couldn't really work. I could get like bartending jobs under the table and cook jobs, but nothing. I mean, I had 2 little kids. Yeah. So there wasn't enough to support us. Okay. So eventually I left there and then came back to Phoenix. And that was about 2004, which was super rad because when I left, there was a very bleak dining scene. Like it was like the land. So it was like the land of Chili's and Applebee's. It was pretty gnarly.
There's a reason for that, right? Wasn't it like testing ground for for restaurants. I think I brought this up before. And no one's agreed with me.
I think you made this fact up on your own.
Well, I don't know any better, so I'm like, yeah, totally. That's what I heard.
That's what he's banking on here.
Oh yeah. I'm going to get to it. I'm going to, at the very least, I'm going to at least get a conspiracy theory going. But,
I think you're doing that right now.
Yeah. But no,
apparently it's not too hard.
Yeah. We're going to get it rolling. So we'll edit this up to make it sound, even more legit. So
sweet.
But okay, so there's all these, mid 90s, there's Chili's. And
yeah, it sucked, honestly. It was a horrible dining scene. So when I came back, it was super cool to like see all of these young guys and girls who were like starting businesses, like all this local business started to boom here. And it was just so exciting to be here and be a part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so what was the restaurant, or what did you open?
I opened an Italian restaurant in Scottsdale. Because as I mentioned, after Spain, I went to Italy for a while. And then I had a friend here who was a great Italian chef. And so we partnered together and opened a place there.
Ah, nice.
And it was super cool. My kids were still little that I could bring them with me every day, but they started to get to the age where they had soccer games and dance recitals, and I didn't want to miss that.
Sure. Yeah.
So after I got out of that restaurant, then I got on the distributor side of things, and I worked for a European importer, which was perfect because I got to eat rad food. I got to be in restaurants, but then I was able to leave.
Yeah, like that 3-day rental thing, right?
Totally. It was cool because it's an addicting industry, and I love food. Like, obviously, I love food a lot. So it was cool because I got to be a mom for 8 years, like their formidable years. I never missed anything. I got to be their coach and be with them 24/7 and still have a job and a paycheck.
Yeah.
And be in the kitchens, which was a rad segue to where we are today, because all of those chefs that I was selling prosciutto and cheese to are still today like part of what we do. And they're a huge reason of why we're here.
Who were some of those chefs that you were seeing back then when you came to town and you said they're kind of inspiring you?
Well, I can tell you that our first 2 board members were Bernie Kantak and Tracy Dempsey.
Okay.
And then, Steven then came in town, who at the point, at that time, I think he was at the Boulders and then went to Palomar before he opened his spot. So it was like all these young kids with mad skills that were taken over. And it's awesome. It's super cool.
That is cool because, when you talk to people like yourself that have been around and embedded in the scene.
Are you calling me old?
No, I'm not.
Dude, it totally sounded like you were calling me old.
Look how red his face is. I hope that shows up on camera.
Oh, Lord. What did I get myself into?
That's great.
But it's weird when you think about it, because there's a lot of other chefs that we talk to. Some like Mark Tarbell that have been around for a while and have helped a lot of those young chefs come up. But some that were, like Justin Beckett comes to mind, someone that was around when he was pretty young, or Flip from Fleet Street was kind of in the local scene and went and did his own thing for a while, but came back, and those connections that were at the root of Arizona cuisine then are still very deep in the community now. And I think that creates a unique history.
Oh, yeah. No, it's crucial to our existence, because when we started, I was making the meals for our patients out of my kitchen. And so these people had established kitchens that I could go to and say, hey, I need 20 meals. Can you make 20 meals? Of course. Like, I need this. Can you raise money for us? Can you let me hold an event at your restaurant? Can you put a menu item on your menu and donate the proceeds to us? Like, because of all of those connections and because of their compassion for what they do, their craft, we're here.
Well, and from what we've seen in the industry, that doesn't seem like it was too hard of a sell to get many of the chefs involved.
No. I'd say 99%.
I know. I could see in your face. You're like, you remember that one, don't you? That 1%.
No, I do remember 1 or 2. But everybody that we're involved with is amazing.
Yeah. So how did that start? Like, so how did you had the Italian restaurant, which, and when you said that, I immediately thought of, was it Uncle Sal's?
Right down the street?
No, there's one over on like.
Oh, yeah. Wow. They actually, in the beginning, when we opened, donated a meat slicer the size of, 6 of these tables.
Are you serious?
Wow. Yeah.
I didn't know that existed.
Well, yeah. So we shipped that out of here.
Yeah. Do you know about Uncle Sal's?
No, I don't.
Sammy the Bull, right? Yeah. Sammy the Bull, Gravano. there's an interesting connection to Youngstown, Ohio, where I'm from, but we're not going to record it because
great people, super happy for their donation.
Yes. So, all right. So you got the Italian restaurant, and where did this come into play? Where did Joy Bus?
While I was working for European imports on the vendor side of thing, that's when my friend became ill with cancer. Joy, correct. So I would just put like rad little baskets of cheese together or make ice creams or something cool just to stoke her out.
Yeah.
And then I started looking to see if there was maybe organizations out there that were doing something like that. So on days I couldn't go hang out, I could just send, I'm like wrecking shit. So I could send her things. And when I couldn't find something, I just decided to create it.
Yeah. So, well, that's got to be easy then, right?
Oh, yeah. Super easy.
You know what? I'm going to create that. Wake up the next day.
I looked hot 10 years ago. Yeah. This is like some haggard looks going on right here. No, it was rough because, like I mentioned, I was a single mom. I was doing catering at night as well, and then took like a part-time teaching gig. Like there was a lot going on while I was trying to set it up.
Yeah.
And I'm not an attorney, and I don't know how to file 501c3 paperwork. So that took a good year and a half to pull that off.
Was that like first step?
Yeah, totally. Okay. Well, first step was to get the name certified by the Arizona Corporation Commission, which I'm so stoked that I did that early because I was able to show it to Joy when we got the name approved.
Okay.
And she had passed away about 3 weeks after that. So
but she got to see.
Yeah, she got to see it, and it was cool because my daughter, like, we got this mat, and my daughter like drew little butterflies and flowers and pictures of Joy. So that part I'm very thankful for. So once we did that, then it basically was start the paperwork and then find people who wanted to support us.
Okay.
So I started going to all farmers markets and being like, dude, this is what we're gonna do. Like, can you donate? I'll come pick up after the market's over. And this is going back to the point of 99% of the people are awesome.
Yeah.
Like 2% of them were in this case because every single person told me no. I'm like, oh my God, you're such a horrible human. Yeah. Like, I'm trying to hook people up. Like, you're going to throw this away. And so finally, Farmer Frank from Crooked Sky Farms, he was like, yes, like, come to the farm, take whatever you want. Yeah. And this is 10 years ago. So I've been going to the farm every week now for 10 years, and he's been giving us whatever we want.
Wow.
Yeah, super nice man.
So so everything comes from him?
Correct. Everything comes from him. And when our diner is open, all the produce that's on our diner menu as well comes from him.
Very nice. I think he was in the magazine, right? On the farm.
He had a brief mention, in the Farm Crisis article.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you're approaching these places, right, and saying, here's what we're going to do, what were you going to do? Like, what was the infrastructure of it from there?
Yeah, I just let them know that I wanted to prepare meals for cancer patients that maybe did not know how to feed themselves, what kind of foods to feed themselves. And
like healthy, like doing healthy options.
Correct, because we're creating menus as well, and then educating tips within the menu, like, for example, like pull out eggplant, why you should eat eggplant, and just trying to educate them as well. And apparently my pitch sucked, or people are just mean because it took a really long time for me to pull it off.
Yeah. Well,
once you got Crooked Sky on board, did it kind of start a cascading effect where more people were getting on board, or was it still a fight after that?
You know what? It was a fight. It was a fight up until we opened the diner. And that's when I knew that, like, we were in a good spot. But you figure that was 5 years after I started the organization. But when we opened the diner, we sent out an email to all of the local coffee brewers. And I was like, look, this is who we are. This is what we want to do. Can you donate coffee to our diner so that we can turn around and sell it and have the proceeds fund our mission? And it was so rad because that was like a total light bulb moment, because that was the first time every single person responded with a yes. I was like, holy crap, like, this is awesome.
Coffee's different than produce, right?
Yeah, it was right. It was so cool. Like, it was such a cool moment knowing that people wanted to support us. And Roastery of Cave Creek was the first one that responded. And that really, honestly, that was the only reason we picked them, because they were the first one. And we're like, well, we could sell your stuff, like, whatever you want. And they're like, no, dude, we just want to help. And I'm so thankful that it was them and they were the first ones, because they're such good humans and their coffee rules.
Coffee's great.
Isn't it awesome?
Yes, you got me a cup before. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, luck of the draw on that one, that they just happen to be super good people and have a rad product.
Yeah. And you're still working with them to this day.
Yep.
Is that how you are with a lot of people? I mean, you've named 2 already. Is that how a lot of the relationships have built over the course of the journey?
Yeah, definitely. And I'm like a dog when it comes to like loyalty. So like the people now that come, which is probably a detriment to our organization, but like the people that'll come to us now are like, oh, we'd love to be a part of you. I'm like, dude, like I begged you like 7 years ago to help us out, and you just were like, phew. So yeah, I'm working on that. It's one of my many flaws.
We all are. Yeah. So, well, what is the process like from the time it goes from the farm to somebody's house? Like, what does that flow look like?
So first, it takes our cooperation with all of the local hospitals and the case managers.
Okay.
And how we got our first patients, I went and spoke at the Case Managers Society of America, the Arizona chapter, and let them know, look, this is what I'm going to do. If you have patients who need help, just send them our way.
Yeah.
And so throughout the years, we've continued with those relationships with all of the local hospitals. So what they do is they have our client intake form on file. And when they have a patient that needs food and needs a visit and flowers and pastries and the awesomeness that our volunteers do, they fill out the client intake form and they send it our way, and then we start delivering. Now, in regards to like the food, we go to the farm every Tuesday, and whatever produce we get from Farmer Frank, that's what we prepare the meals with on Wednesday. And on Wednesday, we did upwards of 80 yesterday. What's today? Thursday?
Yes.
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah.
Sometime. We did upwards of 80 visits.
From here? Like
Correct.
This is all made out of here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're at capacity. And we're not turning anyone away, but like it was crazy. Like there's just bags everywhere and food everywhere, but it's getting it done.
Yeah.
And so all the volunteers show up and they grab a bag and they go visit their patient. And the food's served within an hour of when it's made. So it's hot. It has the menu, as I mentioned, and we have a lady who donates flowers. Like she literally makes bouquets of flowers every week for our patients.
Wow.
Those are good people here.
Yeah.
Good people.
Do you have a lot of things outside of the meals themselves, like the flowers that come along with what you're giving out?
We have lately. It's been cool this past year, as much as it sucked. Like it's been cool seeing people step up because, for example, Wild Thing Botanicals, who does the flowers, she just retired from her teaching job last year. She's like, oh, I want to start a business. So she started a flower business. So anytime somebody buys flowers from her, she donates one to a patient.
Oh, wow.
Although I'm pretty sure the ratio is like someone buys one and she donates 80 to our patients. But it's cool. And then we have a mother and daughter team, Periodic Baker, and she does the most beautiful pastries every week and puts those in the bags. Happy Eggs donated a pallet of eggs to us every month, and they're so pretty. And so we put those in the patient bags. We always get extra produce from the farm. Edible Phoenix donated a bunch of magazines. Like there is a lot of people in the community who step up and want to stoke them out.
Yeah. Penzies donated some.
How rad.
So
like a pallet.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Here's some good humans.
I love Penzies. Like Penzies.
It's so good.
Yeah. I'm like, how do I get Penzies delivered to my place? But
I might have a couple I can throw your way.
I think what you're doing is way better than what I'm doing. I just drink beer for a living, pretty much.
We all have our specialties.
Yes. Well, speaking of beer, let's talk a little bit about what perspired to open up the actual diner, right? Because you had the Joy Bus, which is the organization.
Correct.
What about the diner?
The diner came because I ran out of space in my kitchen.
Okay.
And I was having, and thankfully so, volunteer groups would come to my house every week to help me deliver the meals. Because when it was just a few, I could do it.
Yeah.
But in order for us to grow at all, I had to have volunteer groups. And we just were growing so fast. So I had proposed to the board that, look, we're going to incur the cost of a commercial kitchen regardless. So why not turn it into a restaurant, have people come in and have 100% of the proceeds fund our programs? They're super against it. Obviously, I won. I don't know if I really consider myself a winner, but we're here still. Yeah. And it's served our purpose well. Granted, it is a lot of additional work because you're running a full-service restaurant on top of a nonprofit. But
out of the same place.
Yeah, it's a lot of extra work, but it's worth it because it's created community. which I think is hard for a lot of other nonprofits because there's nowhere that the customer can come in
Very true.
and feel like they're a part of it.
Yeah.
And so apart from the work, it's created a safe space for not only patients to come in and talk about what they're going through, but volunteers to come in and give back. It's really created a community.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and anybody that we told, like I told several people who were doing a podcast and they're like, oh yeah, on the 51 and on Shea. And I'm like, yeah, like people know where it's at. Like it's, and plus the brand is so recognizable now at this point too. Just
Weird.
the logo, right?
Weird.
Yeah. Is it surreal to see?
It is.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you getting used to it or is it getting weirder?
No. And that's a part I don't think I'll ever get used to because when I started it, I just thought I'd be in the kitchen cooking.
Sure.
Like I didn't know people would want to talk to me or like I'd have to be scrolling through my Instagram feed and see my face somewhere. Like that super freaks me out. Like bad.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to adjust.
Yeah.
I'd just rather be in the kitchen and hiding, cooking.
Well, they come for the good work and then they stay for the breakdancing stories.
That's true. That is true.
Wow. If you have skills, you just why hold back?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
It's my gift to you.
Yes. I think we have an event idea come up here pretty soon. Breakdancing and beer and all of the good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, there might have to be more than beer to make that happen.
Hey, right next door they make moonshine, right?
They do.
Yeah.
So you said it was about 5 years in that you opened up the diner, right?
Correct.
So once you got this place open after, battling to get that through, what was the journey becoming from that point on?
It was hard in the beginning because the way that we set up the model, it was 100% volunteers. So the architect, the plumbing, the electrician, all of the tables and chairs in here were donated by Fox. We had everything in here was donated by someone. So it took us about 1.5 years longer than it should have to open. And so in that interim, it completely broke us. We were so broke. I had to borrow money from my daughter's quinceañera bank account to pay payroll. Like it was gnarly. And then once we did open, I had a model set up to where it was, I think we had 60% volunteer staff and 40% paid. That's rad on paper, but at the end of the day, it's a business. And you have to have somebody who's responsible with a key and can actually cook. Mm-hmm. So there are paid positions that are obviously necessary in a business.
Yeah.
So we had to change the model a little bit. And so what it is now, it's 60% paid employees, 40% volunteer. And that seems to work really well because it gives people to come in and volunteer and be a part and pick up some of the slack where it's needed. But it's still a business and you have to work. Mm-hmm. So it was super cool because during that time, Robert McGrath, he was inducted into the Culinary Hall of Fame. And with that induction, he had a $500 donation to pick a charity of his choice. And he picked us. And I remember at that point, we had $7 in our account. So it was like a really big deal.
Yeah.
It was a really big deal. I mean, we borrowed a lot from friends and family that it was a struggle for sure. I mean, we're in an okay position now, and that was thankfully to like the national media and press that we got, where people started coming in and donating and making contributions to us. But you figure it took 8 years to get to that point.
Overnight success.
Yeah.
I couldn't even say it. It couldn't even come out.
Totally.
My brain was like, down.
That was nothing. I'd do it again tomorrow.
Well, what got you through that? I mean, because when you're dealing with something like that, you've got to have some deep meaning. Your why has to be deep to make it through that. What did it for you?
What we do is needed.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just go on a delivery and do it, you see what a need there is in the community for the service that we're providing. Like it's definitely worth. I mean, hell, what I had to go through is nothing compared to what some of our clients are going through.
Sure.
And the fact that just a little bit of hot food and some flowers can stoke them out, like why wouldn't you work towards that?
Yeah.
That's a pretty heavy thing to be doing all the time, and then dealing with the financial stresses of it. Like you must have really had to dig deep to push through, right?
Yeah, like I said, 10 years ago, I looked much different than I do now. It's kind of depressing, actually.
But you stuck to it, and this is a great organization. This place, I mean, it's incredible. I mean, now with COVID, you guys are shut down, but it's interesting that all of this can happen out of this space.
But we have a lot of help. Like it's seriously our volunteers and the people that are involved with the organization. They're involved with the organization not for some super huge paycheck, but because they want to do something bigger than themselves. And it's because of those people attaching themselves to our mission. That's really like why we're here today.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned something about you're just a cook in the kitchen, but you've been taught by a lot of really good people, right? Haven't some of the chefs like kind of showed you the ropes a little?
Yeah, they've been very kind to us.
Yeah.
Very kind.
Like giving you their secrets, like secret ingredients and stuff?
I don't know if there's real secrets. I mean, if I'm like, dude, how do I make this? I'll do this. Okay, sweet, thanks. I don't know if there's like a book of secrets, just a lot of really good people who want to help.
Mastered techniques and things like that.
Yeah, I still haven't pulled that off yet.
Get that. Well, we hear that you were on Chopped as well.
Yeah, so if you saw that, it'll be very apparent that I have not masters of any techniques whatsoever.
Well, I'm looking for it now. I'm looking for it. How'd that happen?
They called here wanting us to be on it, and Lisa, our manager, hung up on them, just thought it was a joke. I mean, why would they want me? So once we realized it wasn't a joke, we spoke to them, and I was not down for it at all.
No?
Why? I don't enjoy the face part of it.
I
want to be in the kitchen.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But between her and my daughter, they were like, it's not about you, it's about the Joy Bus, and you don't exist anymore, so get your ass out there and go to New York. So I did it. I'm stoked I did it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm stoked at the outcome.
Okay.
And it brought a lot of attention.
That's what you were talking earlier about, the national attention.
Correct.
Okay.
And that was $10,000. And again, like that was probably the first national platform that we had that put money in our account.
Yeah.
Which was amazing because at that point, that's the most money we ever had in our account.
Yeah.
This was a really big deal for us.
So they're like, we're going to give you the money, but we want to watch you cook.
Yeah, a little blackmail going on there.
How was it? Like, what was the experience like for you? Like the execution side of it?
It was surreal because it goes so quick. I mean, it was like 15-hour day, but it just goes by so quick because you're just thinking, what next? What next?
Cameras in your face. And people yelling at you.
But it was, I mean, up until the point where they're laughing at me, that part was awesome because you can like, they're not that far away from you and they're just laughing at the train wreck of what I was doing. I'm like, great. Like I could totally hear them just laughing at me. This is going to go awesome. But it's long, it's quick, and I do think that because of who we are and what we do, it kind of prepared me for that.
Okay.
Because we're not a normal restaurant. I don't have unlimited funds that I can order super pretty food, whatever I want from whatever vendor. Like we have to make what we get from the farm.
And you said you don't know until you get there anyways,
correct.
Right? Every week, yeah.
So it unknowingly prepared me for it.
Yeah.
Or maybe I was just less of a train wreck than everybody else.
I'm going to watch this. I can't wait to see it. Can we cut this over?
I don't want to talk to you after you've seen it. Thank you for waiting until after. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Now, we haven't released this episode yet, so I might give my reflections afterwards. Yeah. So what's the vision here then? Like so the diner's not open. Is the plan to open it back up?
Yes.
Once we're able to? Okay.
Correct.
Okay. So you've got the organization that will continue. You've got Joy Bus Diner. Beer. We got to talk about the beer.
Oh my gosh, so stoked about our beer.
How did that happen?
A lot of begging. Okay. Overnight success. No, the beer, we stocked all the local brewers for a good year and a half, 2 years, like pitched them the idea, like we want to create a beer and have the percentage of the proceeds go towards our mission. Like, will you do it? No, will you do it? No return, no respond, no respond, no respond. And then finally, I was at a chef's dinner with Four Peaks. We were creating a beer for them for one of their events. And I happened to be sitting next to the GM. And so, of course, giving my little pitch.
Yeah.
And he was like, of course. And literally, like within a week, they had everything in motion, sending me graphics, flavor profiles. They were so on board. I'm so grateful because if any of the other guys would have been like, yeah, totally, like they wouldn't have had the reach that Four Peaks has.
Yeah.
And they're good humans.
Yep.
Like they really care. And they've been so kind to us. So now we have 2 bears with them and they're donating the proceeds to us.
That is awesome.
That's so cool.
It's an IPA. What is it? An IPA and a wheat?
Yeah, the Rad IPA and then the Wow wheat ale.
Wow. Wow. Yes. I love it.
It's good. It's super
I
good.
don't think I've had them yet, though.
Oh, I have some.
I'll
hook it up.
Yeah.
How long have they been around for?
Who's the beers?
Yes.
The Rad came out about 6 months ago, maybe. And then the Wow a few months ago, which I think right now it's like their top 3 selling beers.
Heck
wow, that's awesome.
Right?
Wow.
Well, they're going in cans too, right? You're going to go in. They are in cans.
They just came out in cans, I think, last
packs,
week.
Which is cool too. Like that's.
The graphics are cool. I mean, the beer is cool too. The graphics are rad. It's super cool, and they're backing it. You know, they're out there hustling, trying to raise money for us.
Awesome.
That's a really incredible opportunity right there, because it's not only like you get Four Peaks and you get some good beer, but like you said, the reach and the fact that they're pushing it and buying into it, that's one of those partnerships where you end up with them and you're like, man, this changes everything. Oh, yeah. The brand extension is huge. You know, and it took some hustle on our end as well, because like we are a healthy organization. You know, we have one of the top naturopathic oncologists in the country on our board. So he's obviously not down with the beer, you know, but we have to look at our brand extension and what's going to enable us to be able to help more people. And they're good humans helping us help more people. Well, and I think it's, you know, wow, like you mentioned, it's got to be looked at from a certain perspective in terms of the health side of it. The beer community and people like Four Peaks and a lot of the other people really buy in. And when you have someone that seeks out a local beer specifically like Four Peaks, those are the kind of people that are going to want to support an organization like yourself. So even though it's, you know, maybe not the perfect alignment in terms of beer and exactly what you're doing. In a way it is, because it brings people that are outside of that typical fold, a new audience, if you will. Totally. And maybe they have a friend or a neighbor that needs service and they had no idea that we existed. So it just, like you said, gives us that reach to help more people, not only financially, but from a brand awareness standpoint. And who doesn't need more beer around too? Exactly. And it's craft beer, so it's like all natural ingredients. So it's there like, you know, there's orange in it. Come on. Exactly. It's vegan, right? I think beer is vegan, right? Who doesn't need vitamin C? Exactly. Well, I can't wait to try them. That's really cool for you guys to have that and to see the brand even expand even more. So congratulations on that. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. So back to the question that I asked and then interrupted my own question with the vision. Like what's the long-term vision for Joy Bus? The idea is to help more people. So initially when I opened this, I was going to build a strong template and get a year worth of operating under my belt and then expand. The idea was kind of like a franchise model. Unfortunately, once I started looking into it, like most people with enough money to open restaurants want a return on their investment. So that model didn't work very well because there's no profit in what we're doing. So we're working with a few people right now and we're looking at expanding not only our service, but into another location as well so that we can grow and help more people. Yeah. We're working on it. It's going to happen. Yes. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to see you guys continue to grow, and this is really awesome what you're doing. Yeah. Thank you. I have a lot of help. Yeah. Yes. Well, you have it too. We want to give a shout out to these two over here as well. It's Lisa and Aaron who just run the show. You heard them laughing in the background a few times. Yeah. Might have caught her on camera showing the chops thing. I told him to ask about chops. Ask about. That's how we know. We weren't going to ask. She brought that up. You've got mutiny within the ranks. Yes. She does that. She like hates me. And we got it on camera, so she wasn't going to admit it. You were going to find out at some point. But thank you for doing that. Yeah. I'm like, why is she holding that up? What is she talking about? She's crazy. So anything nice I said, can we just retract that? Is there a way to cut? For sure. We can make it sound like anything you want, whatever you want it to say. You're insane. When she first held it up, I thought she was telling us to wrap it up. I'm like, oh shit, we got to wrap it up. Oh my gosh. What is More Than a Meal? What is that book? So that's our cookbook that just came out after about 3 years of painstakingly work. But I'm so stoked. And like, please know that I did not pick the cover. My board did that. I'm not a total egomaniac. That's you on the cover?
Well, there's some editing, obviously. So we have like really good chefs who are involved in that, like amazing chefs who have been with us since day one, who have contributed to our patient meals, who have raised funds for us. They're just super good people in there. The only thing I feel bad about is that like there's been a lot of chefs since who have stepped up, like Chula Seafood. We were talking about them. They've been amazing to us. But people like them who have stepped up since that aren't in the book, but it's because the cutoff for the book was 3 years ago.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And it just came out. But I'm happy it's done. Thank you.
That is a beautiful, beautiful book.
Well, the back's better. The part without my face is...
Come
this
on,
part's
come
cool.
on. Well, and that was... Oh, yeah, so I'll post about that. And that was one thing I was going to ask you about, is you were compared to Mother Teresa and the Dalai Lama on the back of this book.
By Pat McMahon. By Gerald. Okay? That's not bragging. That's better than a trophy from a 6th grade breakdancing contest.
That is. Yes, that is. That is. You need
close call, but
yeah. It's a close one. But no, this shows right here what you're doing, and you're doing awesome stuff, Jennifer. So keep it up.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I think we need to get one of those beers now.
I think so.
All right, cool.
Lisa, could you do something constructive for once? They want beer.
Boom, there we go. I'm glad I didn't hit stop before that.
Well, everyone, there you have it. Joy Bus. Make sure to follow them on social media as well as A Taste of AZ so you can get more news about the awesome projects that they're bringing to the Valley. And make sure to pick up some of that beer that they have as well. See you next time.